Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is KB Cunningham, and I'm here on behalf of Self, and we can't wait to tell you how you can partner with Self through the Super App. So, the purpose of today's webinar is to clarify how the Super App funding works for CIR and UIR schools, explain how targeted SPED support can directly strengthen student outcomes, and outline specific ways for Self to support you and your school in planning, selecting, and implementing high-quality services. Here's our quick agenda for today. But basically, we're going to cover Super App funding. We're going to talk about supports for students with disabilities. We're going to share how Self has pathways aligned to the Super App. We're going to talk about how to include Self in your plan and the next step for partnerships. So let's take a deeper look at the Super App. The Super App has a purpose to improve access, to strengthen systems, and to support CIR and UIR schools. Students with disabilities often face barriers to accessing grade level instruction, and this impacts many CIR and UIR schools. When schools strengthen SPED systems, instructional access, and compliance structures, student achievement improves. The Super App is an opportunity to invest in the systems and practice that most directly influence outcomes for these students. So, what about Self's alignment? Well, CIR and UIR schools receive targeted redesigned funding from LDOE, but these funds must be requested and justified through the Super App. Schools can be funded only for items listed as expenditures, and alignment with the student's need is required. Clear, precise submissions show your school receives the support if the needs allow. We will be focusing across 4 area pathways and can customize down further, but here are where we're super focusing: compliance, accommodations and modifications, co-teaching, and universal design for learning. As always, we're going to talk deeper about what this means, but you can always customize this out. So, speaking of that, what does it look like to partner with Self? Well, each CIR and UIR school can apply for up to $12,000 to invest in external SPED supports, and Self is offering 2 structured options, allowing schools to select the pathway that best matches their needs. The first pathway is the instructional pathway. It has 3 2-hour training sessions, 1 2-hour site visit with classroom observations and feedback, and a Super App-aligned support in one of the 4 targeted areas. The second is the systems level pathway, which includes 4 90-minute leadership collaborative sessions, 1 2-hour site visit, and that's focused on systems and implementation. Both options can be customized to support compliance, systems, accommodations, co-teaching, or UDL. Now, you see these 2 options, which are like, KB, is there more? Absolutely. Here are 2 ways that we are supporting folks, but we can always customize an option that works best for you, your school, and your students. Please don't hesitate to reach out about that. So now that we know about the different opportunities, what should we expect? Where are we focusing? So Self is focusing on 4 key areas to support learners: compliance, accoms and mods, co-teaching, and universal design. When a school partners with Self through the Super App, it gains access to professional learning to support the different pathways. You'll have check-ins with Self staff to design your scope and sequence. You'll have training materials and sessions customized to your school. And then lastly, there will be implementation rubrics and resources for follow-up. We are absolutely here to support you from the initial application to making sure these systems are in place for your school. So let's talk about the systems for authentic compliance. Self's compliance pathway supports schools in building clear, sustainable systems for case management, progress monitoring, and IEP documentation. We support schools in building case management, helping define the roles and timelines, and centered in the data for decisions and next steps. So what does this mean for students? Services get delivered consistently on time. Instructions and accommodations are based on progress, and increased access to grade level learning. If this sounds like something for you, you definitely want to check out our Authentics Compliance Pathway. The next pathway we're focused on is accommodations and modifications in practice, the real deal. And this pathway is going to help educators translate IEPs into clear, actionable daily practice. We support educators in understanding which accommodations are required, how to apply them consistently across the classroom, and how to ensure students with disabilities have meaningful access to grade level instruction. What does this mean for students? Well, they'll get consistent access to grade level instruction, huge. Supports that match their IEPs and learning needs. There'll be fewer barriers caused by inconsistent and unclear accommodations, and instruction that adjusts when supports aren't working. The third pathway that we're talking about is all about building strong co-teaching. The co-teaching supports teachers by strengthening shared responsibility between general education teachers and special education teachers. Schools learn how to use co-teaching models with clarity, plan together effectively, and increase access to grade level instruction for all students. This pathway helps teachers understand their roles, build consistent systems and routines, and create more inclusive classrooms aligned with the LDOE expectations. What does this mean for kids? Well, greater access to instruction is always a plus. Having an inclusive classroom, even better. But having reduced stigma and a stronger sense of belonging, wow, the way that helps students learn and increased academic engagement for diverse learners, huge. Self would love to partner with you on building those strong co-teaching teams and getting those systems in place. The last pathway we're going to discuss today is the UDL pathway, and it supports teachers in designing instruction that increases engagement for all learners. Teachers learn how to incorporate flexible instructional strategies, build predictable routines, and design lessons that create multiple entry points for students. What does this mean for kids? Well, obviously, increased access to Tier 1 for all students is incredible. Higher engagement and independence during learning, isn't that what we want? And fewer barriers that require reactive interventions, really thinking about how we can proactively plan for all students and the impact that has. So you're like, wow, this all sounds great, but what's next? So what's next? It's time to include self in the process. Schools can include self in the external supports vendor section of the Super App as a part of their budgeting and narrative justification. Self is able to support leaders in their application for their rationale and deliverable sections so that the request aligns clearly with their eligible expenditures, student needs, and LDOE expectations. As you can see right here on the screen, you can select your partner school and the amount to request. This is where that pink arrow is showing. But as you know, Self is here to support and make that actionable alongside you. So what's the next step? You're like, these information's great. I would love to talk about a different pathway. I would love to set up something customized. Potentially you're like, oh, I want to go instructional. Well, let's talk about it. You can use my QR code right here or this Bitly link, and we can set up a time to review your school's goals and priorities, prepare the exact language that you need for your Super App submission, and identify the pathways that fit best for your needs. Self is absolutely here to support you, and this is one of the quickest ways to just set up a 30-minute meeting to make it happen. Thank you so much for listening today about the Super App webinar. Self would love to support you and support your diverse learners at your school. Reach out to KV Cunningham right here at this link, and I look forward to hearing from you.